Okay, good evening. We are now here with Ruby Lenora Green. She is a candidate for Broward County Public Defender. Good evening, Ruby, and how are you doing this evening?
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very well. Very tired from the polls, but very well.
Yes. So it's going out to vote is very important. It's imperative that we all go out and vote. Well, first, we want to thank you for coming on the Adams Brothers podcast. We do appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come talk with us.
No problem. I appreciate whatever when you having me actually.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, so why don't we start off with just tell us a little bit about you and where you grew up and where you went to school, your education, and what led you up to wanting to run for public defender.
Okay. Well, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Ruby Lenora Green. I am actually a public defender at the Broward County Public Defender's Office in the Career Criminal Unit. And I've been a public defender for almost 11 years. And I'm from Pompano Beach, from Cayuga City. I grew up there. I'm one of 15 kids. I'm the first and only to graduate and go to college. By the second grade, actually, I was the sole document signer in my household because my mom couldn't read or write. And, she had to leave school early because she had to pick beans, cottons, and strawberries in the fields. And, by 13, I was actually sold for drugs. That's something that, human trafficking in, the Black community is real. And, a lot of times people of color are being prosecuted for stuff like that, just for you being, trafficked. And we see a lot of that on TV nowadays. I actually did not know that I was going to be able to go to college. I didn't think about college. I thought that I was going to work at McDonald's for the rest of my life. I thought that that was going to be my end all be all. And that's what people were telling me. I was told actually that I was going to be nothing but a 2-cent hooker living on the streets with 10 kids. And, I'm a mother of one. But I had actually a guidance counselor who convinced me to go to college because she thought that I had very good grades. And, I was kind of worried about doing that because in family, I was very comfortable where I'm at. And, I literally thought that McDonald's was going to take me where I needed to go. And, not to, put shame to anyone who works at McDonald's, but, we need to see that, it's just a stepping stone to where we can go in life. And we need to see people that look like us that can tell us that we can do more with our lives. And, I finally got that person in my life to tell me that and teach me, that. And so I went to college. I went to Florida State University.
I got on the burgundy shirt.
Almost. And when I went to Florida State, it was actually the only school that I applied to because I didn't know any better. And my guidance counselor basically talked to me a little bit about Florida State University. And they had this program called CARE, a Center for Academic Retention and Enrichment program. And it was for first generation college students. And, I went through that program and I graduated cum laude from Florida State University within 3 out of the 4 years. And then I went on to law school and I graduated law school, got my Juris Doctorate, graduated law school early as well, within 2 out of the 3 years. And the entire time I was in law school, I worked at the public defender's office. I was just drawn to the public defender's office. And, even before I had my bar license, I got, I was a volunteer. I then became an investigator at the public defender's office. So I did all the work that nobody else wanted to do. Then I was a legal fellow. And then the Supreme Court gave me permission, it's called certified legal intern, in order to represent people under supervision. So I worked at the public defender's office, as a certified legal intern, also being able to try cases and represent people. And, after I did that for 3 years with the public defender's office in Jacksonville, I transferred back down to Broward County, and I've been in Broward County ever since. I've been a supervisor and chief at the Broward County Public Defender's Office. I was actually the youngest chief at the Broward County Public Defender's Office. I was asked to be a chief, at the age of 28, and of the misdemeanor court. And, we need change at the Broward County Public Defender's Office because a black face in a high place doesn't always want to advance the race. And I saw that at the Broward County Public Defender's Office. And it's shameful. I was told as a supervisor and as a chief not to go to the courtroom, not to train our attorneys. And I'm just really getting into the reasons why it really made me want to run. not to train the attorneys. And we already have this stereotype at the Broward County Public Defender's Office, at any public defender's office, that we don't represent our clients, that we work against them. You know, they call us public pretenders. You know, they don't think that we're real attorneys. So why would you, as an administration, want to not do stuff like that? Why would you, as an administration, when George Floyd happened, why would you tell the office not to march in solidarity with Black Lives Matters? Why would you, as an administration, not want to hire people who look, you know, like the people that are filling the boxes? You know, that was a concern that I had, and that's why I decided to run.
Okay, well, that's, you know, everybody needs some representation, and a lot of people that come to the through the court system, they're people that look like you and me and Wayne, you know, and I don't know why somebody would want to say something like that. Don't train them, or, you know, don't. Why would you want to represent them? But obviously, there's some stuff that's like that that's going on, you know.
Yep.
Right.
It's sad. It's sad. Right under our noses. Right under our noses.
Right under our noses. So that leads me to my first question. What are the 3 biggest challenges facing the public defender's office?
1 is funding. 2 is keeping our experienced attorneys. And 3 is the morale. And, you know, I can go into debt. Funding situation is really, really horrible at the public defender's office. And, you know, it's kind of like a trickle effect. So, you know, if you don't have anyone in Tallahassee, you know, fighting for funding for people at your office, you know, then we're going to have a problem. The first problem is that you're going to get your experienced attorneys that are leaving, you know, because of the fact that they want to make more money elsewhere. You're not, you know, boosting the morale. You're not, you know, providing them with the funding that they need in order to be able to stay. Sometimes people will stay and sacrifice the higher salary because they love the job, but not when you're treating people as if they're disposable. I worked at the public defender's office, at this office for 8.5 years. 5 of those years, I've had either 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. You have to understand that we as public defenders, we have big roles. And one of those roles is going to court, trying cases, taking depositions, filing motions, arguing those motions in courts, and you have to visit your clients at the jail, which we all should be doing. All of those things we should be doing. But, you know, a lot of people at the public defender's office feel as if the administration, because the administration isn't also doing that. I mean, we have a boss that we never see at work. He maybe comes to work maybe once or twice a week for maybe an hour or 2, doesn't know people's names, you know, stuff like that. And then we get an email to the people at the office, the attorneys and the staff at the office, that other people from other circuits are going to Tallahassee to fight for funding for their people. What are our people going to do with that email? Are they going to eat the email? Are they going to take that email to the light bill place and say, hey, you know, my boss said somebody else going to fight for their people to get, you know, money, but they ain't doing it for us. So, you know, what are we going to do with the email? What are we going to do? Why can't you go up there just the same as these other public defenders around the state are going to Tallahassee to fight for their people for? It needs to stop. Like, we need change. And, you know, it's just a trickle effect. We have attorneys at the office who, you know, once we get our experienced attorneys that are out, then we have to move people up that may have been, you know, in felony for a very short time. And some of the attorneys don't even feel comfortable with representing their clients. You tell me, if you get an attorney that has never tried a felony case, and we have some attorneys that are lead felony attorneys, that need to try felony cases, and they've never tried their own felony cases. So if you are arrested for a crime that you could be facing life in prison for, and you get an attorney that has never tried a felony case before, are you going to feel comfortable with them representing you?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't. I'd do it myself. You know,
so it's kind of like a revolving door going. The return is coming in and out, and they leave. They come in and get a little bit of experience, and then they leave for higher pay somewhere else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know, like it's so easy to retain people because of the fact that, you know, we need to have that morale as well. There are plenty of people that are willing to stay. Plenty of people. But I'm telling you, if you're treated like trash at your own office, if, you know, you're wanting someone to fight for you, if we saw someone just fighting for us in Tallahassee, You think that we would want to leave the job because because we know that someone's fighting for us. But if no one's even taken a step to even do that for you, why would you even stay? Well, why would you? What's the incentive? You're not giving me any.
Right. Well, thank you for that, Wayne.
Wow, I'm learning a lot here today.
So am I.
I thought I knew from listening to people about the public defender's office, but I don't think that I know as much as what I just heard. Okay, Ms. Green, have you ever been referred to the Florida bar for any type of discipline?
No disciplinary actions on my part. Nope. No disciplinary actions, and no what we call 3.850s where a court decides that we were ineffective assistance of counsel. None of those. I do have opponents who have who actually had one of their clients sentenced to life in prison in 2003 or 4. The state attorney office recently just basically said that it's necessary that they reverse that conviction and release this person from prison. And it's because of the attorney was found ineffective assistance counsel. They didn't relay an offer to a client, and they didn't file motions on the client's behalf.
Okay. And, I was going to ask you a question of, what would differentiate you between Mr. Finkelstein, but you pretty much gave me everything that I needed to know. And, I was always told that he was a friend of the Black community. I heard it, but I was like kind of skeptical because of some of the things I saw him say during the O.J. Simpson trial back over 20 years ago.
Yep. I'm going to let you finish because I have some words about that too.
I saw him with Patrick Fraser on Channel 7, and I heard some of the things that he was saying, especially with the juries.
Yeah.
And I was always skeptical of him about that, but I tell you what, you just really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and that's why it's good to have someone that looked like us in the state attorney's office. And I'm not talking about a puppet either.
His office.
So see, we have a lot of Black faces in places like the state attorney and other places, but they puppet. Puppet's not gonna do anything for the furtherment of Black people. So I'll let you go on and say exactly what you wanted to say.
No, it's entirely true. When you have puppets, and that's one of the things I can tell you, that there are people at the office who will, they need Howard's endorsement, sort of say, so they're not going to speak up for our cause. So even if he's doing something wrong, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you see that the community is having issues, and, especially with the representation of our clients and how we're being treated, Black people are being arrested disproportionately. You see that, that, you've advocated for that. So you say, and then you go out on a limb and just tell the entire office that we can't march in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, when every single other office in the state of Florida was marching in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. That's a concern. That is a big concern. And then, like, for me to be the only person from, not the only person actually from the office, there were plenty of people that were outside of the office, and only a select few that were in the office that were brave enough to still go out and march because they know what it meant and they know what it means for Black people. And the jail is right. One of the jails actually in Broward County is right behind the courthouse. So we started there. They need to see us. They need to see that we care about them and, everything that's going on in the criminal injustice system.
And, I'll never understand why a lot of the men just sit back, especially some of the Black men, just sit back and stay silent, and the women always ride us. I always see the women riding, trying to make changes. And I notice the men sit back and act like they're afraid to even speak up and say anything. It's shameful.
But the TV and the newspaper will have it make you think that all these things are going on, all these great things, when it's not. Because all you're doing is sending a letter. Stop sending letters and stop sending emails. Why don't you go and bust them doors open? Why don't you go and sit down in somebody's face, pick up the phone and call them and tell them what you want, the demands? That's why we're not getting anywhere. The news articles in the paper and all the limelight attention, that's great. But we don't accomplish anything from any of those. Nothing. All we get is a shiny new news article saying, oh, this is what they wrote in the paper, to this person. But nothing comes of it. Nothing comes of it because people just probably ball up that letter and throw it in the trash. That's it. We need action.
Yeah. And how many cases have you tried in front of a jury with a verdict? I've
tried 56 cases as of March. March was actually, we closed down March 13th for coronavirus. I was actually in trial until 7 p.m. that day, well after the courthouse closed at 5. We were getting kicked out when the jury was delivering a verdict. I'm actually the only person that is on the ballot that has tried cases within the past 20 years.
Okay, and just one follow-up question to everything you said. How would you assess the performance of the outgoing public defender?
I think that for his time, he has done some good things. He created the mental health court. Now, at some point or another, he then wanted to dismantle mental health court. A lot of people don't know that. That was a concern. I think that in his day, when he was trying cases and stuff like that, he had all the glory and all the attention. I think that, that was his limelight. That was his period. That was his time. I can't take that part away from him. He's really had a platform that nobody else has been able to have. He's had his own TV show, right. That we wouldn't have been able to do that. You tell me if we were drug addicts and we used to come to court with cocaine on their noses, would we be able to be in a position that he was able to be in? No. There's completely different sentiments about, how he chose to, do his time as the public defender. Now, I'm going to be completely different because of the fact that, he never tried any cases as public defender. You see Mike Sachs around here. Mike Sachs was in office for 44 years. He's still trying cases. That's one of the things that I actually respected about the fact that they had a politician that was actually sitting up there doing the job that he, the voters voted him to do. But we didn't have that. We don't have anyone that's in the position right now that the voters actually voted for him to be doing the position that he wanted to do. He hasn't had any cases, hasn't had nothing, like no jail visits. I don't even think any jail calls, anything like that. It's just, you just get to go home and play golf and, that's your day. And, we don't need that. It's time. It's not time to be complacent. It's really not. And that's what we have had for quite a long time, complacency.
Well, that tells you white privilege is alive and well in Broward County, Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Carol?
Ms. Green, obviously you are running as a Democrat. And my question to you, and I asked this question to all of the candidates, have you always been a Democrat? And if not, when did you change your party affiliation and why?
I've always been a Democrat. Changed my party, never.
Never. So that was a short answer. Again, we always ask this question because you have some people that candidates come here from wherever else, and they come here and they're a Democrat, and then they change it to Republican, or they're Republican, and they change it to their party affiliation to be a Democrat. And they know that Broward County is a county that votes heavily Democratic. So I always ask that question to everybody to be fair. So you've always been a lifelong Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My second question was, if elected to the state attorney's,
office,
the public defender, how would you address the problem of racial disparities in the criminal justice system?
That's one thing that we need to do. We need to make sure that we're tracking them. Racial disparities is apparent, And it has been that way for many, many years. We already know that the criminal justice system was a mechanism that was relegated, that has relegated millions of people of color into a second-class citizenship. We're basically second-class citizens. And it has, basically taken away rights of our clients, voting rights, housing, jobs. And so they're stuck in this revolving door. And that has been an issue. So we need to have actually communications with police departments. We need to have communications with the state attorney's office to see what it is, because we already know that race plays a part in police practices, policies, and procedures. It does. I'll go to schools and I talk to class from very different neighborhoods, inner city, and, cities that are well off. In the cities that are well off, those kids are saying, no, this officer just took me home, to my mom and my parents, gave me a warning, didn't even go in and talk to the parents, some of them, And then in our schools and stuff like that, our kids are saying, no, they're being arrested for the exact same things as these kids in the other cities, the exact same things, they're being arrested. We need to be in the streets. We need to be advocating on the behalf of our people. And that's something that we're not doing, and we're not tracking these numbers. We had a whole, I think, news journal that came in, a couple of years ago that basically said that, somebody in my race, was sentencing people harshly, and all this other stuff. But why did it take that newspaper or that news journal to come in and do that? Why couldn't our office have these statistics? That's something that we're going to need to be doing. We need to stay in everybody's faces, and we need to be checking with the attorneys as to what these offers are, and why our clients either pleading out or why the judges handing out these harsh sentences. And we need to understand that there's implicit bias in the criminal justice system. There is, it just is. And it stems from slavery. And I don't have to get into all of that, but there's a lot that I'm going to have to be doing, and that includes advocating to my state legislatures for certain bills. And it's going to be a lot that I'm going to be doing when it comes to racial disparities. I can just tell you that I'm going to be in everybody's faces.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. And also, as a little follow-up, how would you address the issues of Black and brown defendants receiving harsher and longer sentences than white defendants who have committed the same crime?
Yeah, that's another thing. That really is going to also come with who our new state attorney is going to be. Now, we got a lot of state attorneys that are running, and a lot of them seem to be very pro criminal justice reform. And I'm hoping that's true, because a lot of people don't understand that, as public defenders, we do not make the law. Okay, so more often than not, the law is already given to us, in a statute book. Right. And the state attorney actually has the most power in the courtroom. I'm not saying that we can't go after them. No, I want you to be a zealous advocate. I will be in the court. I will be after you. I will be standing my ground for me and my client. I can tell you that. But the state attorney can waive minimum mandatories. Judges cannot. So we have situations where, you have prosecutors who maybe have grown up with silver spoons in their mouths, and, they don't understand that this person came from this place, and, the mitigation and why they're acting this way and why they can't find a job and why it's so hard. They don't understand that. They don't understand that the moment that you're branded as a criminal and you're Black, that, that's it. That's it for you. That's your job. You can't get housing. You can't vote. You can't do a lot of these things that they're wanting you to do because of it. So it's really gonna depend too on who we get as a state attorney, and, making sure that we actually have public defenders that are zealous advocates and fighting for the rights of the clients. That's what we need to be hiring and training the attorneys to do. They need to see the public defender in court doing what you do best, which is either trying a case or arguing on the behalf of clients. It's important. And, it's also going to follow up with, criminal justice reform bills with, again, I can't make law, but I can advocate for them.
Right. Thank you. Wayne?
No problem.
Ms. Green, what would you do to address defendants with mental issues? I know you said Mr. Finkelstein did some things, but what steps further would you do, or would you take any steps further?
We need to start as a community taking certain steps to not calling the cops for everything. We tend to do a lot with police officers. Our kids acting up in school. Oh, here go, let's call the cops. You know, someone has a mental illness. Oh, let's call the cops. We have given officers a lot more roles than what they were meant to have. And it's only because we as a community didn't want to deal with these types of things. That's a problem. We need to take these roles back. That's where it comes with defunding. A lot of people don't like defunding the police, but okay, reallocation of funds to go into other community resource programs. We need more mental health treatment programs. A lot of people don't know this, but we burnt some bridges. Our office had burnt some bridges with some treatment programs and, you know, mental health stuff. And we can't be doing that. You want to dismantle mental health court? What? Like, how are we going? Why? It doesn't make any sense. So we need to make sure that we're providing our clients with more access to mental health treatment as well. So for one, let's stop with calling the cops on every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you know, just because of something. And you know that they're mentally ill. You're thinking that an officer is going to take this person to get checked out over arresting them? No, that's not going to happen, you know? And then we always get these calls from family members saying, oh, I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't want this to happen. Well, that's the outcome. That's the outcome. And sometimes, and especially if they come into my courtroom more often than not, then they have a mandatory minimum, sentence, and, you know, it just spirals out of control. So we need to do more about making sure that our clients have more and better access to these programs. And, you know, we have a lot out there. We just need to, you know, link them with the resources. We need a social worker. A public defender normally takes the role of being your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your social worker, your case manager, your doctor, and your lawyer. You know, we need someone at the office that can also take care of those aspects of finding placement for our clients and, making sure that they can get adequate treatment.
Okay. How do you feel about the death penalty?
You know, that right there is a very, very sentimental question. And I'm going to say this because my brother actually was murdered. And I can tell you to this day, I still do not support the death penalty. I do not believe that it works. I do believe that it's also disproportionate. You have to also realize and know the facts. And the fact of the matter is that Broward County is, you know, number one in wrongful accusations and wrongful convictions. Broward County, number one. State of Florida is number one, and Broward County is number one within that. You know, that's too much. What if we get it wrong, you know? So we're sitting around here trying to sentence all these people to death, and they didn't do it. And, you know, science has proven this time and time again. The movies have, you know, showed and, you know, us that this is not an effective, you know, mechanism of making sure that people do not commit certain crimes. It's just not.
You know, we also had a sister who was murdered back in 1986 by a defendant who murdered another childhood friend of ours. And I must say, you know, in cases like that where the evidence is high, I mean, without a doubt, I believe in the death penalty for those cases. But a lot of other cases that you're talking about, you know, it's very questionable. I would walk a fine line. But for cases like, you know, what happened to my sister, I definitely would truly like to see the death penalty imposed.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like when it comes to, and I always say this too, like when it comes to real heinous crimes, like the evidence stacked against you and stuff like that, we have, you know, like that is it's going to be a part of the system. Let's just be real. But you know, Hitler and everything, of course, crying, you know. You know, it really depends on the situation. But for the fact of the matter is that I need to be sure. I need to be 100% And, that's not leaving any room for doubt. I need to be 100% that this crime was committed in order for me to vote for the death penalty. If I have any little doubt, there's a problem because of the fact that I know about how, the wrongful convictions, and it's just too much. The numbers are just too high. And I wouldn't want that on my heart, going into the heavens that I sent somebody to die and they were totally innocent.
Yes, and I feel like, what happened to your brother? I'm always we're very sensitive to stories like this. May I ask what happened?
With my brother?
With your brother, yes.
Yeah, he apparently it was like a fight over a woman, and they didn't actually fight. It was really an argument, and my brother turned to walk off, and the guy shot him in the back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We just had a similar case like this from one of our ex co-worker's son this morning. Just found out that happened. It was something, I guess, very similar. Just this morning. I got one more question for you. What state statute would you like to see changed? I think I got a good idea from what you said a little bit ago. But what state statute would you like to see changed?
775 mandatory minimums. They gotta go. They just gotta go. They really do. We have to understand that. And I'm a true believer that we need to, at some point, believe in second chances. And when it comes to situations that I've been seeing recently, i.e., we got 2 cases in the office over the summer during mango season for people being charged with burglary of dwellings for taking mangoes out of the tree. Now, these are the highest sentences that someone can give you at this point, unless if they can prove that you were armed of some sort. But burglary of a dwelling for taking a mango out of the tree, you couldn't just say trespass, but you wanted this person of color to be scoring automatic prison, right? Just automatic prison. And if they have a certain designation, if let's say they got out of prison within the past 3 years or, something like that, and, then that's a mandatory minimum of 15 years. 15 years for a mango. And I think about stuff like that. And I think about me enjoying my mango seasons, as a kid too, going to everybody in their mama tree, taking mangoes, plucking mangoes from the tree. Can you imagine going to prison for that? We used to eat these mangoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It just can't be. I just can't fathom sending someone away or having someone sent away for that long. It's just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you don't want nobody in your yard, but that, that's an easy trespass too, but the laws are clear. You can charge them with, burglary dwellings, it's theft essentially from taking from their property.
Okay. And is there any case that you tried in the past that had you up at night thinking something you could have done a little differently or something you could have said or just done an action you could have done a little different?
Every single case that I tried, even when I win, all the time, even when I win, I don't know if everybody feels this way, but I truly love being in the courtrooms and arguing in front of a jury. I truly do. But I can tell you, I'm always afraid that they're going to go against me and what I say. Even if they love me, the facts are what they are. Sometimes you have to tell yourself that the facts are what they are. You can't change the facts. You really can't. You can make the jury try and see your side or whatever, but you really can't change the facts, right? So every case, the last case that I tried was a robbery, with a deadly weapon. And, I always am up thinking about that case and, while I'm trying it, especially, but what I could do better for the next day, or in hindsight, what I missed to say this, I wanted to say this, but even when I win the case, I always say, man, I really wanted to put that in there and say that, even though, you know, the jury sided with me and the fact, you know, what my version of the facts were, you know, there's always something. In hindsight, there's always something. So I'm just going to say, yes, there's always something. I can't specify, you know, all the cases and stuff like that, but there's always a time where I'm thinking about what I could have done and what I could have said, you know, no matter what.
Okay, thank you, Daryl.
Hey, Ms. Green, this is my last question I have before I close you out. Since you've been working in the public defender's office, describe a challenging task that you had to deal with and how you handled it.
I would say the most challenging task that I had to deal with was a trial that I had, and it was, you know, like when you're trying a case and you have a man that was actually accused of, you know, forcing himself on a woman, because that was one of the charges, and kidnapping them and doing all these things. You want to try and put yourself in, you know, the woman's shoes, or not, you don't want to, but
right.
As a woman, you just have no, you know, you just do it. Okay. I can't really explain. You just do it. And you're like, oh my goodness, like this could be me. Right. So you have to, and I had to, in this case, take myself out of that. And once I did, I was able to bring lie after lie. As soon as she got on the stand, just lie after lie. Lie she told the police officer, lie she told her mama, lie she texted my client, lie, just lie after lie after lie after lie. And I saw the case for the state start to unfold, you know, on our behalf. And it was, you know, it was a great feeling, because, you know, like a lot of people say, how can you represent somebody who did this? How can you do that? But, you know, it's really about representing, you know, people who are charged with criminal offenses, one who is indigent. And according to the Constitution, you know, I have to do my job. And my job is looking at the facts, whether or not, you know, the state can prove their case. And I think not. And that's what I need to, you know, focus on as trying a case. And I can tell you, my client had a wonderful story. And I cried after that trial. We won. I cried my butt off. And, you know, he basically told the story to the jury about how he cut himself. And he was in jail for a long time. He was in jail for 5 years before I actually got his case tried. You know, obviously I didn't have his case for 5 years, but as soon as I got the case, I worked it up and I tried the case. But he had cut himself from wrist to elbow. And, you know, like, because he felt like people had given up on him and nobody wanted to believe him. And I could tell you that there are times where you walk into a situation and you're like, come on, man, you lying. And we don't want to give anybody that opportunity to say that, you know, they could be telling the truth. And the entire time, this man was telling the truth. The entire time he was telling the truth. I kid you not, telling the truth. Wow. Messages proved it. You know, the conflicting stories proved it. The DNA proved it. The samples from the what we call Nancy J. Cotterman Center, the Sexual Assault Treatment Center, proved it. It was just, you know, you just gotta listen. You know, even if you don't want to believe it, sometimes you just gotta listen.
Right. And I have, you know, and I have friends. We both have friends that's unfortunately incarcerated right now, and they always ask the question about pro bono work. Mm-hmm. And my question I'd like to ask you, well, I said I had one other question, but where is it here? I have my glasses on. Give me 1 second here.
It's okay.
And that was the question I was going to ask you too about pro bono.
Pro bono work, yeah. Where is it? I just had it here in front of me. Just give me a second here. Oh, here it is. What pro bono work have you done in the past 3 years? I'm sorry, I didn't have my glasses on, so I got them now.
We're not allowed to do pro bono work.
You're not allowed to?
Right. The Public Defender's Office, State Attorney's Office, we're prohibited by statute from doing pro bono, because our work is essentially, we're government lawyers, essentially pro bono work.
So you'd have to be like in a private practice to do pro bono?
They're the only ones that are required to meet a certain, either they pay an amount or they meet a certain amount of hours that they have to complete. We don't have to do that. We're exempt from that. But I do a lot of work in the community right now. I'm the community post chair of the TJ Reddick Bar Association. I'm also a past president of that bar association. I am the current president of the Broward Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. I'm the Social Justice Committee chair of the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated Fort Lauderdale chapter, Upsilon Sigma chapter in Fort Lauderdale. And, you know, I also am a member of the National Council of Negro Women. I'm on their gala committee, and I've been a part of their organization for a couple of years now. But so, you know, I do a lot of work.
Yeah, I can see. I see you're very, very involved in the community.
Yeah,
Yes.
I find some know your rights forums as well. Like I worked in conjunction with Alpha Kappa Alpha, and while being the community post chair for the TJ Reddick Bar Association, I put on know your rights forums and implicit biases, where events where I get officers to come and talk to kids in the community about, you know, knowing their rights and how to interact with police officers so we don't die.
Okay. Well,
And the Know Your Rights, is that the same organization that Colin Kaepernick has, or a different organization?
Well, it's not the same organization because the events are just named Know Your Rights. It's not an actual organization. The TJ Reddick Bar Association is the only Black bar association in Broward County, and you know that's what I do. Do those events under the community. Me being the community post chair.
Okay. And I got one more thing. I want to hear some of the stories about the O.J. Simpson trial. Some of the tidbits about that. I don't think you ever got a chance to say that about.
I mean, it wasn't really nothing in relation to that. Well, I can't say in relation to that. I'm just saying, like, I know what you were talking about when you were saying how, you know, he made certain statements, because I've also been on the other end of those statements. I, you know, asked him to, you know, donate or come to an event that was, you know, of Blackness. And he basically said that he wouldn't because he felt that, or he was mad that some of the people in that organization called him racist, you know, for certain things, you know, back in the day. So it wasn't anything specific about the OJ trial, but I'm saying like.
Yes, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Miss Green. Thank you. You've been a great guest.
No problem. I appreciate y'all having me.
Okay, Miss Green, you have the floor. Tell the people of Broward County and the voters of Broward County why we should elect you to the Public Defender's Office in Broward County, Florida.
I totally appreciate you all having me here today. It's such a blessing. You don't know what it means to me, to be honest, when it comes to an election and, you know, having a platform to speak on and tell people your story. And it's so, so important because I want the voters to get to know the person that I am. And I am a zealous advocate. I am, you know, like I said before, a leader in the fields. I was actually voted for Legacy Miami's top 40 under 40 leaders of today and tomorrow. And I totally understand what the criminal justice system needs when it comes to Broward County Public Defender's Office. We need a holistic approach. And that goes to making sure that our clients, as I stated before, has access to more treatment, mental health treatment programs and beds, more substance abuse treatment programs and beds, you know, because a lot of people don't understand that sometimes our clients need inpatient treatment programs and there's not a lot of beds, you know, for our clients. We need to, you know, bridge that gap and build connections with resources that have the ability to treat our clients without trying to charge them astronomical fees. We need to link our resources with housing. You know, some of our clients get out and we have situations like, you know, you're in jail for a few days and then all of a sudden you done lost your housing. You know, it's crazy. you don't have a place to live. And then you wonder why people, are committing crimes just to keep up with being able to live. We need to make sure that we provide people in a system with second chance jobs. We need to make sure that people are just not getting kicked out of jail and then just going out on the streets, and then what? How are they working? We're not assisting them in doing those types of things. We need to reduce recidivism, and that's the only way that I see how. We can't think about ourselves individually. We need to think about ourselves as a collective village, and we haven't been doing it at the Public Defender's Office. We need to advocate for funding, and that's something that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be advocating for funding. I'm going to be boosting the morale. And a lot of people don't understand that when I say that we need to focus on us as a village, we as taxpayers are paying $146 per day per person that's sitting in jail, even for minor crimes, for sleeping on park benches, for trespassing, and their bonds are $25. Tell me, how is it productive for us as taxpayers to be paying all this money per day for this person who can't afford to get out of the bond, who's staying in jail multiple days, sometimes even over a month? How that's counterproductive. It's a systemic cycle that needs to end, and I'm going to be the change we seek. So on August 18th, actually now, you can go and vote for me now. You can fill me in your mail-in ballot. You can go to the polls right now, because early voting is open on the weekends from 9 to 5 and on the weekdays from 11 to 7, and vote green for change to be seen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ruby Lenora Green, she was born and raised in Pompano Beach, Florida, in the Collier City neighborhood. She's running for Broward County Public Defender. We want to wish you the best of luck, and good luck to you when you win the Public Defenders, the race there. Don't forget about the Adams Brothers podcast. We want you to come back and talk to us. You're the home team, just like us. We're from Deerfield. You're from Pompano. We're just a little bit north of you. So don't forget about us, and come back and talk to Black media and support us. And we would appreciate that very, very much,
Most definitely. Jesse, I'm just one call away too. So you already have my info. So
I do have your information. And once again, thank you for stopping by and talking to the Adams Brothers podcast. Good luck to you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.